You Become What You Think by Shubham Kumar Singh. Summary Section 1. The Power of Thought. In the opening chapters, Shubham Kumar Singh invites the reader into a realm where the mind holds the master key to life. The central thesis is profound yet elegantly simple: your thoughts shape your reality. They are not merely fleeting mental phenomena, but active blueprints for the life you construct every day. Singh draws from both ancient wisdom and modern psychological insight to explain the foundational truth that every achievement, every failure, every joy or sorrow originates in thought. Like seeds sown in a field, our thoughts eventually bloom into actions, habits, and ultimately, identity. He doesn't just say that positive thinking is good, he illustrates how thinking itself creates. If you think in terms of abundance, you act out abundance. If you dwell in scarcity, you manifest lack. It's not about daydreams or idle optimism. It's about the internal programming that determines your perception, decisions, and behaviors. He introduces the analogy of the mind as fertile soil. Whatever you plant, be it fear or courage, doubt or confidence, it will take root. Your subconscious is always listening, always working behind the scenes. What you feed it consistently becomes your default state. Over time, you become the very embodiment of your dominant thoughts. This section builds the foundation for the book's message. Transformation begins not with external changes, but by reshaping the architecture of your thinking. Section 2. Self-talk and Inner Narratives. The author delves deeper into the inner conversations we hold with ourselves. These dialogues, often unnoticed and unfiltered, are the narrators of our lives. Shubham explains that the story you tell yourself matters more than the story the world tells about you. He breaks down how negative self-talk becomes a cycle. For instance, thinking "I'm not good enough" leads to hesitation, which results in missed opportunities, which then reinforces the belief. This cycle becomes self-fulfilling. To counter this, he introduces the concept of conscious interruption, the act of stopping negative self-dialogue midstream and replacing it with empowering alternatives. He advocates for affirmations, but not in a superficial way. These are not just feel-good quotes, but carefully chosen statements that are repeated, internalized, and believed. The author urges readers to monitor their thoughts as carefully as they monitor their diet. Just as junk food affects your body, junk thoughts poison your mind. He also introduces mental exercises to reprogram the subconscious: visualization, gratitude journaling, mindfulness practices, all intended to bring your attention back to a state of power and intention. This section is a mirror. It asks, what stories have you been telling yourself? And more importantly, do they serve your growth? Section 3. Belief Systems and Mental Conditioning. Every person is a product of belief systems, those formed by upbringing, culture, experience, and repeated thought. Shubham unpacks how these internal systems operate silently, guiding your every choice. Many of these beliefs were installed when you were too young to question them. Money is evil. People can't be trusted. Success is for others. These beliefs, once accepted, become laws in the internal world, even if they contradict your conscious desires. Here, Singh introduces belief hacking, the conscious process of identifying, questioning, and rewriting limiting beliefs. He emphasizes that beliefs are not truths, they are merely accepted thoughts. And anything accepted can be rejected or revised. He uses compelling stories and real-life case studies to show how transformed beliefs have led to transformed lives. A person who once feared public speaking becomes a coach. Someone who believed they were unlucky in love finally finds connection after changing the way they thought about love and themselves. You become what you think, because what you think becomes what you believe. And what you believe becomes how you live. Section 4. The Law of Attraction, Science Meets Spirituality. Rather than reducing the law of attraction to mere wishful thinking, Shubham offers a more grounded, practical interpretation. He frames it as an alignment of thoughts, emotions, and actions. Thinking alone doesn't create magic. But thinking, when aligned with feeling and acting, can move mountains. He outlines a step-by-step process. 1. Clarity of desire: know what you truly want. 2. Emotional connection: feel the emotion of already having it. 3. Mental rehearsal: visualize success with sensory detail. For inspired action, move in the direction of your goal, daily. He emphasizes that your brain is a goal-seeking mechanism. When you program it with clear intention and vivid emotion, it begins noticing opportunities that align with that goal. This isn't magic, this is neuroscience. The reticular activating system, RAS, filters information and focuses your attention. The more you reinforce a thought, the more your brain filters reality to match that thought. In this sense, the law of attraction is not external, it's internal programming that shapes perception and behavior until reality catches up. Section 5, Fear, Doubt, and Emotional Mastery. In this section, the author addresses the emotional enemies of empowered thinking: fear, doubt, and insecurity. Shubham treats fear not as a weakness, but as a signal. It's a message from the subconscious, highlighting perceived threats. However, most of these fears are illusions, mental projections based on past wounds or imagined futures. He provides techniques to confront and dismantle fear. Naming the fear out loud. Tracing its origin. Creating an opposite empowering thought. Taking micro-actions in the face of fear. The author teaches emotional resilience, not suppression. He emphasizes that emotions are not to be judged, but understood. Your emotions are reflections of your thoughts. Change the thought, and the emotion follows. This emotional awareness is critical, especially when practicing positive thinking. Singh cautions against toxic positivity, the denial of real pain. True strength, he says, lies in acknowledging your feelings and still choosing a better thought. Section 6, The Identity Loop, Becoming Your Thoughts. In this chapter, Shubham introduces one of the most powerful ideas in the book: identity is shaped by repetitive thought. Who you believe you are, your capabilities, your limitations, your worth is not fixed. It is constructed thought by thought, day by day. He calls this process the identity loop. 1. Thoughts become beliefs. 2. Beliefs become actions. 3. Actions become habits. 4. Habits define identity. 5. Identity reinforces thoughts. This loop is either a prison or a ladder, depending on how you use it. For example, if you think I'm not disciplined, you'll act without discipline, confirm the belief with poor results, and strengthen the identity of being undisciplined. But the loop can also work in your favor. Begin by thinking I am focused and consistent, act accordingly, and soon your mind will adopt this as your truth. He encourages readers to use I am statements carefully. Words like I am lazy, I am unlucky, or I am not good at math are not facts, they are programming. And you are the programmer. Singh suggests writing new identity statements and repeating them aloud daily. Over time, these affirmations begin to feel natural. As your thoughts evolve, so does your self-image and your life begins to match. Section 7, Environment, the Hidden Influencer. We often underestimate how much our surroundings affect our thoughts. Shubham calls the environment the silent sculptor of our mindset. From the people you spend time with, to the books you read, to the energy of your workspace, everything either empowers or limits your thinking. He breaks the environment into 3 categories. Mental environment, what you consume, news, social media, conversations. Physical environment, where you live, work, and relax. Social environment, who you surround yourself with. You can think all the positive thoughts you want, but if you're surrounded by negativity, cynicism, or chaos, it's like swimming against the current. He offers a challenge: audit your environment. Eliminate what drains you. Add what inspires you. Create a space where your best thoughts can flourish. Your external world should reflect and support your internal goals. Section 8, The Mind-Body Connection. Singh brings attention to something often overlooked: the intimate connection between body and thought. Your posture, breathing, diet, and movement all influence your mindset. He shows how slouching, shallow breathing, and poor sleep lead to low-energy thoughts. On the other hand, movement, sunlight, and clean food elevate your mental clarity and emotional stability. One of the most impactful tools he shares is embodied visualization, combining physical movement with mental imagery. For example, taking a power walk while imagining your future self giving a confident speech. This links the body and mind in a synergistic loop. The message here is clear: to think better, treat your body better. Your biology is not separate from your psychology, they are allies. Section 9, Action, the bridge between thought and reality. Positive thinking, while powerful, is incomplete without action. Shubham warns readers not to become mental dreamers, those who think big but never move. He emphasizes that action is the evidence of belief. If you truly believe in something, you will act on it. If you don't, the hesitation reveals lingering doubt. He breaks down action into digestible pieces. Micro-actions, small, daily steps that build momentum. Bold actions, leaps that push you out of your comfort zone. Consistent actions, rituals and routines that hardwire success. The most important thing is to act while the positive thought is still alive. Thought without action fades. Action seals the thought into reality. This chapter becomes a rallying cry: don't just think it, live it. Your thoughts create the blueprint, but your actions are the bricks. Section 10, Failure, Feedback, and Forward Thinking. In this section, Shubham addresses the role of failure. Instead of treating it as defeat, he presents it as the greatest teacher of thought. Every failure, he argues, is feedback, information about your thinking process. Did you act from fear? Were you unclear in intention? Did you give up too soon? Rather than shame or guilt, the author encourages curiosity. What thought led to this outcome? And how can you think differently next time? He introduces the idea of forward thinking, training your mind to bounce forward after a setback instead of dwelling in it. Ask better questions: what is this teaching me? How can I grow stronger from this? The most successful people, he observes, are not those who never fail, but those who adjust their thinking fastest. Section 11, Gratitude, the magnetic thought. Gratitude is not just a feel-good practice, it's a mental amplifier. Singh calls it the magnet of abundance. When you focus on what you already have, you attract more of it. He shares the science behind it too. Gratitude activates the brain's reward system, releasing dopamine and serotonin. These chemicals boost mood, enhance motivation, and reinforce optimistic thinking. He suggests starting every day by writing down 3 things you're grateful for. Reflecting on small wins daily. Expressing appreciation to people around you. Gratitude shifts your lens. Instead of looking at what's missing, you begin to see possibility, beauty, and opportunity everywhere. And most importantly, it rewires your brain to expect good things, making you a magnet for more of them. Section 12, Purpose, the highest thought. In the final chapters, Shubham speaks about purpose, the thought that guides all others. When you know your why, every challenge becomes meaningful. Every task becomes infused with energy. He describes purpose as the inner compass, a powerful thought that anchors you during storms and elevates you in calm. He encourages readers to explore questions like: what makes me come alive? How do I want to serve the world? What impact do I want to leave behind? Purpose-driven thinking is expansive. It makes you think beyond personal gain and into contribution. And ironically, the more you give, the more life gives back. Section 13, The Thought Audit, Becoming Aware of Your Inner Dialogue. Before transformation can happen, awareness must awaken. In this powerful section, Shubham introduces the concept of a thought audit, a conscious practice of listening to your inner dialogue. He writes, you are always having a conversation with yourself. But what is the quality of that conversation? Through storytelling, he shares examples of individuals stuck in loops of harsh self-talk, unaware that their internal monologue was sabotaging every step forward. One woman he describes, a brilliant entrepreneur, kept telling herself, "I'm not ready," and found that every time she neared a breakthrough, she would unconsciously retreat. It wasn't her talent lacking, it was her belief. The thought audit involves writing down your dominant thoughts throughout the day. Are they empowering or limiting? Are you speaking to yourself like a best friend or a critic? He suggests doing this exercise at 3 key times. Morning, when your mind is most malleable. Midday, to track thought drift, and night, to reflect on your mental choices. Through repetition, readers begin to see patterns. And once you see a pattern, you can interrupt it, rewrite it, reinvent it. This chapter acts like a mirror, one that doesn't lie but invites transformation. Section 14, Mental Diet, Feeding the Mind with Power. Just as the body needs good food, the mind thrives on powerful input. Shubham compares thoughts to nutrients, and your daily mental consumption to a cognitive diet. He asks, would you feed your body junk all day and expect to feel energized? Then why feed your mind fear, gossip, and complaints and expect clarity? He divides mental food into toxic input, news that induces fear, endless scrolling, negative conversations. Neutral input, passive entertainment that neither lifts nor damages you. Empowering input, books, podcasts, music, art, and discussions that stretch your thinking. He gives practical strategies for reshaping your mental diet. Set time limits on news and social media. Create a content curation list, books to read, channels to follow, people to learn from. Begin and end your day with high energy input. This shift, he says, transforms the landscape of your thinking. Over weeks and months, your brain begins to crave positivity. And what you consume, you eventually become. Section 15, The Role of Faith and Imagination. Faith and imagination, two forces often dismissed in the pragmatic world. But Shubham reveals their place in thought leadership. Faith, he writes, is not religious, it is a mental certainty that something is possible even before it happens. It is the seed of all creative acts. He tells the story of a young man from a small village who visualized himself becoming a tech CEO. Everyone around him laughed, but he held to the image, reinforcing it every day through journaling, vision boards, and belief. Years later, he stood on the TEDx stage, the CEO of a company that changed lives. His journey began not with a business plan but with belief. Imagination, Shubham says, is the preview of life's coming attractions. Whatever you can clearly imagine, you can begin to move toward. But the imagination must be fed, exercised, and treated as real. He provides exercises to enhance these faculties. Guided visualizations, imagine your best self living the life you desire. Future scripting, write diary entries from your future. Mental rehearsals, walk through goals as though they've already happened. This chapter feels magical yet grounded. It's a gentle push into a world of possibility. Section 16, Emotional Mastery Through Thought. Emotions don't come from outside events, they come from how you interpret those events. Shubham brings this to life with rich stories and inner inquiries. He describes a moment from his own life facing a business failure, rejection letters, and financial instability all at once. The emotional spiral was real. But in that moment, he remembered, this is just a thought storm. If I change the narrative, I change the experience. And so he did. He teaches a simple but powerful technique called name and reframe. Name the emotion, I'm feeling anxious. Reframe the thought behind it, this isn't failure, it's feedback. He delves into the power of journaling to express and neutralize emotions. Breathing techniques to interrupt overthinking. Mindful observation as a path to emotional detachment. What emerges is a toolkit for emotional freedom, not by controlling feelings, but by transforming the thoughts that birth them. Section 17, Thought Leadership, Influence Starts Within. In this transformative section, Shubham takes thinking beyond personal development and into leadership. He redefines leadership not as a title, but as influence through clarity of thought. He points to figures like Gandhi, Steve Jobs, and Maya Angelou, people whose inner convictions changed the outer world. These individuals didn't lead with charisma, they led with thoughts so clear, so potent, that others felt them. He breaks leadership into vision thinking, the ability to see beyond current reality. Communicative thinking, the ability to articulate ideas with precision. Empathetic thinking, the ability to see from others' perspectives. He encourages readers to become thought leaders in their own lives. Not by waiting for a platform, but by thinking differently in every conversation, conflict, and creation. The world doesn't change from outside in. It changes from thought out. Section 18, The Thought Legacy, What Will You Leave Behind? As the book nears its closing, Singh challenges readers with a profound question: what thought do you want to be remembered for? Not achievements. Not possessions. But the thoughts you stood for. The beliefs you embodied. The hope you passed on. He tells the story of his mentor, an old teacher who used to say, "You plant your mind in others, with every word." That teacher has long passed, but Shubham still carries those seeds. And now, through this book, he's planting them in others. The legacy of thought is eternal. Every idea you speak, every perspective you share, every belief you act on, it outlives you. You may not control the world, but you can leave behind a world of better thoughts. Final chapter, The Thought Declaration. In the final pages, Shubham asks readers to write a thought declaration, a personal manifesto for how they intend to think moving forward. He includes prompts like: what thought patterns will you no longer accept? What core thoughts define the best version of you? What thoughts will you teach others through your example? This becomes more than a book, it becomes a turning point. A contract between you and your mind. Because you don't just have thoughts, you are becoming them, and that's the ultimate truth of the human experience. Conclusion, the echo of thought. In the final reflection, Shubham Kumar Singh brings everything together. Your mind is not a cage, it's a canvas. Every day, with every thought, you are painting a masterpiece or scribbling in chaos. The good news? You hold the brush. You always have. You become what you think. So choose your thoughts like they matter, because they do. Because you matter.